Yeah, but you gotta answer it, but it's up to you.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know what
What
you're getting into, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're up.
Y'all ready? Yeah, like my little gavel. Workshop Commission meeting, Town of Pembroke Park, Wednesday, January 2nd, 3rd, sorry, at 6:00 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Here.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Here.
Vice Mayor Morset?
Here.
Mayor Mohammed?
Here.
We have quorum.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Are there any deletions or withdrawals to the agenda?
Just one addition, which is
I
the
got it.
present.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so we are going to do the presentations. The first presentation is actually not on the agenda. And this is for one of our longtime employees, one of our last longtime employees that was left, one of the few. So this is a proclamation because James Lawson has retired as of December 31st. And so the proclamation goes, whereas we are here today to express special recognition to James Lawson and to honor him for his dedicated 14-year service career with the town of Pembroke Park. And whereas James has proven himself to be a contributing team member to the town of Pembroke Park, and whereas James has worked constantly for the betterment of the town of Pembroke Park's Public Works Department and the community, and whereas the Commissioners of Pembroke Park wishes to express a sincere appreciation to James for his dedication to his duties during his tenure, and whereas this proclamation is presented to James to serve as a reminder that although he is retiring, he will always be remembered in our community. Now, therefore, we, the Pembroke Park Commission, by virtue and authority vested by the town of Pembroke Park, do hereby present this proclamation to James Lawson as a testimonial to the faithful and dedicated services which he has performed for the past 14 years, with our best wishes for the continued success and happiness in the future. Congratulations on your retirement.
Yes.
Harry. Yeah. Everyone smile. Cheese. Oh, wait, wait. Perfect. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna skip around just a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna go to 6.1, Fire Department. Captain Kane.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commission.
Battalion Chief Michael Kane, Broward Sheriff's Office Fire and Rescue, presenting the statistics for November 2023. In November of 2023, we responded to 178 incidents. The breakdown is 12 of them were structure fires, 46 vehicle accidents, 113 were medical calls, and 7 were service calls, for a total of 178 for the month of November 2023. Do you have any questions for me? If not, that completes my, okay. And Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New
Happy
Year
New
to you.
Year's.
All right.
Quick question for you though. How many of those were on I-95?
I don't have those statistics with me, but
You'll get it to us.
generally, of the vehicle accidents, the majority are on I-95. The vast majority are 95.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably better than 50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Building report 7.1.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Through the interim city manager, I am your interim building official. For your report for November and December, our numbers are slightly down from the average of last year. There are some considerations to be taken into place within since this report was issued. We have over 120 permits that have been applied for, 40 of which are for re-roofs, commercial, and the rest of them are for Magnolia Townhomes. So within this month, we're going to issue a significant number of permits. Since in this report, we have Wawa has been finalized, and as you were all aware, you were there for the ribbon cutting. We have the topping off of the commercial building next to Wawa. And, sorry. The Seneca buildings are getting towards their COs, and every other project in the city is going forward. If you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
In District 4, we have couples property management, the property we are in, like most of the renting. So someone reached out with me, not someone, couples. I had a chance to take with Alim with one of the property. And there's just so many violation waiting for the permit. And I don't know who is scheduled for, I believe it Jacqueline or something. So she's scheduled 3 times and she canceled it. Maybe she has some reason or sickness. So I need you to follow up with that one, because some of the tenants for our residents actually, so they don't have hot water and they're waiting for the permit for our city. And they are like almost a month, like waiting for, like without hot water, and it's not good for us. So, and especially that one in Azure.
Please forward me that information, because usually those permits take a few days.
Yeah, that's why I say they said it's
This-
like almost like how many times they said months, over a month,
Yeah.
and they're waiting for city because city is not following up with them.
Yeah. I did bring it up to Jeff, and we'll discuss it a
Okay,
little further
I'll
tomorrow.
discuss that with the city manager, because that's something that usually only takes a couple of days, and we'll look into it.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. 5.1 lobbyist report.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I have prepared and sent out, I think the day after Christmas, is this right?
Yes, I believe
Oh,
so.
I'm sorry, David Sigerson, consultant for the town. I sent out a document that is the proposed legislative program for 2024. And I don't know how much detail you want me to go through it, but probably not a lot. I'll just mention a couple of things. There's the first part of the document explains the general policy guidelines that we recommend to the town. They pretty much stay the same each year. We go to Tallahassee and oppose legislation that would limit the ability of the town to raise money And there's a bill that does that this year that we are recommending that you oppose. We also look out for legislation, mobile home legislation or annexation legislation that might be harmful to the town. And then one of the other components is that we incorporate most or all of the Florida League of Cities adopted policy statements as part of our program, so that we work alongside of them in Tallahassee. Generally, I'll recommend picking out one or two, maybe three of those issues that seem like they are the most relevant to the town that we would focus on. Of course, we would support them in everything that they're doing. And so that's sort of the general lay of the land. And then the next section goes through those policy statements. Local government taxing authority, obviously, we want to work to protect that. Then the next section, it has to do with transportation, housing, and economic development. One of the issues that we are always on the lookout for are harmful annexation bills. And we also look for mobile home legislation that could be harmful. It hasn't happened in a long time, but back in 2008 or 2007, when the last building boom was occurring, mobile home parks were being bought up by developers and closed, and people, that's what's happened with Trinity. And so back then, they tried to put it on the cities to pay for the relocation of the displaced people, which would have bankrupted Pembroke Park with just one closing of one park. So we fought that, and so we are on the lookout for that kind of legislation. The next section, municipal administration, home rule powers. Obviously, we work with the league to jealously guard the home rule powers that local governments are granted by the state constitution. Sovereign immunity is going to be another big issue. And then there's utilities and natural resources. The league is interested in making sure that there is uniformity throughout the state in the stormwater rules, and so that's a policy position of theirs. So the next section is the appropriations section. There we have inserted language describing the project that we are lobbying for in Tallahassee, which is the hardening project of the town hall. It's a total project cost of $732,000. The budget request of the legislature is $562,000. And then the last section, I've selected a handful of bills that are already pre-filed that would be significant to the town. The first of which is the municipal water and sewer utility rates discussed with a lien. This is a Senator Jones bill, and this bill would eliminate the 25% surcharge that cities that get water from another city, like we do, from having to pay that extra charge. And so that's a bill to support. Then the next bill is the governing body meetings, a bill by Representative Caruso. This is a bill that would allow cities to have 2 Zoom meetings a year at their discretion, as long as they were not having to adopt or pass an ordinance during those meetings. But that means that you could do workshops by Zoom if you wanted to, as you know, give everybody a break. Then there's a couple of bills that we don't like: residential building permitting, sovereign immunity, the use of private providers for plan review and rejection and inspection. Complaints against law enforcement officers. That's a preemption bill. I'm sure the chief probably doesn't want to hear that. And that would preempt regulating complaints against law enforcement officers to the state. And then there's the local business tax bill that would eliminate your local business tax, which would be a loss of revenue. It's another one of the attempts by the legislature to give you things to do and then take away your ability to pay for them. The sovereign immunity bill, I think that's the last one I'll talk about. The sovereign immunity bill is, as you recall, last year, the legislature, there was a bill that would have raised the limits on sovereign immunity to 3 million, 5 million, if I remember correctly. That bill did not pass. So what's happened this year is the bill has been, they took it away from the sponsors who had it last year and gave it to a House member and a Senate member who are more favored by the leadership, is what the speculation is. And the bills would, a much more modest increase. We are going to what the current limits are, which is 300 for individual, 300 for an incident, to 400, 600. Now, the league's position on this is that they are going to try, they're not going to come out actually opposing that. They're just going to try to negotiate with the bill sponsors to maybe have a lesser, something of a lesser increase. These sovereign immunity waiver laws have been in place for 20 years? Yeah, long time. So there is an argument that inflation is, has eaten away at what they originally were 20-some odd years ago. So, and I'll conclude with that. We have been working, with the Aleem and Mayor and others, and David D'Elia on the audit situation. I have established a relationship with the chairman of the Joint Legislative Auditing Committee and have been in contact with him numerous times. And let's see, what else? Well, those are the main things. And then, of course, Connie's been working on the budget request, getting that paperwork filed with both of the House and the Senate in a timely manner, and working with the staffs of Senator Pizzo and Representative Woodson to make sure that their questions are answered, and or to have established contact with them through the process. So that's it.
David, is there any inclination of what the government, the Tallahassee, what they're doing about the immigration influx in the state of Florida?
I'm sure they will do something. I'm sure with this legislature they will address that. I don't know what they're going to do.
I mean,
have
other
not-
than busing them out of town, out of state.
Well, I think the governor's already doing some of that.
I know, yeah.
I haven't heard anything
No.
lately about that, other than, there was a boatload of people that landed on the Marquesas Islands over the weekend.
No, I mean, they're not trying to pass any kind of legislation or anything like that.
I haven't seen any,
No.
but I'll look and let you know. They pretty much passed those kinds of bills 2 years ago and last year. But, with the folks in Tallahassee that are sort of running the show, I wouldn't be shocked if there was additional legislation. As you know, they passed legislation essentially saying that, that employers have to use E-Verify for new hires in companies employing 25 people or more. So that's kind of out in front of where anybody else is in the nation, because the E-Verify has been there for a long time, but there's been resistance in other jurisdictions, other states, to actually requiring employers to use that system.
Also, if I could just add to that point, Commissioner, the state 3 years ago adopted a requirement that all contracts with public agencies, including Pembroke Park and all municipalities, counties, school districts, include specific language with regards to E-Verify.
Right.
And everybody that does business with a public agency in the state of Florida is required to comply with those provisions.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for that. So,
No question.
no questions.
No. Thank you very much, David.
Can I go home?
Yes, you may. Can you take me with you?
Have a long drive.
Thank you
Thank you.
once again.
Okay. We are moving on to November stats. Oops, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Roshana Dabney Donovan, Chief of Police for the Town of Pembroke Park Police Department. As always, I would like to thank my police personnel who continue to work diligently to reduce crime and provide great service for our community. It continues to be my honor to work with them. For the months of October and November, the police department continued to focus on issues such as noise complaints, illegal dumping, trespassing, unusual activity, and homelessness. Currently, we have 8 extra watch requests in which officers ensure they either drive by or park and walk specific locations during their shifts, time, and incidences permitting. In keeping with our mission to employ a sense of community, October saw PD personnel's participation in the Read for the Record at Lake Forest Elementary and Mimi's Learning Center. This is an annual national event where one book is chosen to be read to young children on the same date. We also participated in Trunk or Treat at Lake Forest Elementary, as well as attended the town's Fall Festival. November saw our participation in the town's Thanksgiving food drive and the town hall's Thanksgiving luncheon. Understanding the power of positive partnerships and the importance of training, I attended an employment roundtable discussion with other South Florida agencies and was able to facilitate our personnel training with a neighboring agency in emergency vehicle operations. The joint stats are as follows. There has been a 0 increase in both traffic stops and traffic crashes, a 10% decrease in arrests, a 44% decrease in burglaries, and a 14% decrease in other calls. Additionally, there has been a 27% increase in alarm calls and a 20% increase in total citations. Total calls for service have decreased by 3%. We recently hired 2 new police officers who will begin their training on January 8th, as this brings our agency closer to full staff. Currently, there are 6 vacancies for budgeted positions, 1 for major, 1 for the executive assistant, 2 detectives, 1 full-time officer, and 1 part-time officer. In addition, there are approximately 9 reserve officers vacancies. I've advertised for the executive assistant position and received 145 applications, which I am attempting to reduce. That's it. Thank you.
You're still up there.
Oh, what else do I have?
NFBPA.
Oh, yes. 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 So I'm requesting to attend the National Forum for Black Public Administrators Forum. I believe it's in April. Yeah, April 2nd through the 8th in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, for an amount not to exceed 2,900.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so put that on consent for next week. Then the next one is the 8.3 accreditation services proposal.
So we're continuing to work with the town attorney's office in solidifying agreements for proposals relative to accreditation services. So our initiative for accreditation began prior to my employment in 2021, where there was an application to the Florida Accreditation Law Enforcement Division. And what former administration did was apply to the commission in Florida so that we can become an accredited agency. What that means is we will be following a set of standards set by the state of Florida to ensure that our policies and procedures are being processed accordingly. What happens is they come every 3 years. and they look at our policies, they look at our training, they look at every facet of the police department to make sure that we are upholding our end of the bargain when it comes to the standards that the state sets. Because this was applied for in 2021, we were supposed to go through the process in 2023. Fortunately, I was able to receive an extension through FDLE, and the extension will take us through August of 2024. So in August of 2024, representatives called assessors will come and they will look at our agency. Because this is a startup agency, we're going to need extra and additional assistance. And so one of the accreditation managers from the Davie Police Department and one of the accreditation managers from the Coral Springs Police Department has offered to assist us in navigating this tedious process and making sure that we get accredited. Their goal is to come to the agency every Friday to make sure that they're doing interviews with staff. These interviews will be of a mock nature to get us prepared for the real interviews that the assessors will come and ask us about. They will also ensure that our policies are up to standard. They will also make sure that our training platform is good. So they have proposed to come and assist us in this process. I know that there have been some requests made by the town attorney's office, which we're still mitigating and working out. And I would just like to put it on the, I would just like to make sure that these changes are solidified and agreed to by the next commission meeting.
Okay.
Chief, is there any grants that are tied into this deadline that you have on August 24?
Yes, we were awarded a accreditation grant, which was about $900,000. And
Right.
if we do not utilize, we have about 600,000 left. So
Okay.
if we don't utilize the monies for the grant, then we're going to have to pay it back to the
Right,
state.
so I just want to make sure that you clear, with the commission, the grant that are tied into this, accreditation and what is on the line. In terms of getting the accreditation and receiving the grant and expenditures.
Right, so everything's on the line.
Well, that's what I'm trying.
Basically, our
Correct.
agency. And I understand that there have been some questions previously about getting the actual police department accredited. And not every police department is credited, but that's also becoming the standard for
Correct.
most agencies in the state of Florida. It's something that I personally believe that we should obtain, and we have the funds to utilize to pay for the consultants. And we, I think, in my opinion, should be utilizing these funds to get us ready.
Okay. I have a couple of questions. So, you said that this accreditation company will review the policies and procedures. Did the other person finish the policies and procedures?
She hasn't completed them yet. We have an end date, or we have a goal by January 24th.
Okay.
To have those completed.
Okay, and then the girls from Davie, or the young ladies from Davie will come in and review those to make sure that they're like standard operating procedures are acceptable and everything like that, or?
Well, so what happens is the state has, okay, so for instance, if you have a policy, then they have what's called a CFA and a number next to those policies. So we just have to make sure that those CFA numbers correlate with the state standards and what we're doing as processes and procedures. She's just coming in to make sure that our policies are correct and they are standard for the town of Pembroke Park Police Department. And she's revamping, the policies that were already brought in when the agency first opened.
Okay,
And she too will also be paid from the accreditation
great,
grant.
okay. And then, you said that we have until August, but the paperwork, the contract said 9 months, so are we gonna be putting it close, or?
Well, if
Gonna be
it's not
within the
approved today,
timeline, or?
if it ain't approved today, it's gonna be.
Well, it'll be
Well, I
approved
mean,
next
or
week.
next for the
but-
next meeting.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay.
We did talk about that. We talked about openly about, some of the pitfalls. We talked openly about timelines, and they've assured me that they can get it done. They've helped other agencies, and I believe in them and in their work that they're doing.
Okay. And okay, so I just want to make sure we're not giving back any money.
I want to make
And I also
sure.
want to make sure that our officers are getting the training that they need. So is there like a schedule that the officers are following to check off for this accreditation
So
stuff?
that's part of the process.
Okay,
So
and-
that's part of the process. So I have Acting Sergeant Kaysen right now. I've put him in charge of our training division. He attends the meetings with me as it relates to training and putting together training schedules. So we're already working on that.
Okay, and they're going out. I want to make sure they're getting their trainings. They're signing off. We're keeping a ledger. Who's keeping that
Yes,
ledger? Because
I'm
you don't
keeping-
have an assistant still.
I do not, but I'm keeping the ledger, so we're making it work. But yes, it's imperative that everything that we do is documented, and everything that we do is documented correctly, and that's why this is so important.
Okay, and when are you getting your assistant?
When I can
Where are
find
we?
time to dig through the applications. Well, hopefully I'll do that within like the next 2 weeks or so. I just came back from vacation, so
Okay.
that's on my to-do list.
Okay, but you do have applicants. Okay. Okay. I just want to I'm just trying to make sure that you have what you need to succeed.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I'm also waiting for my number 2, so I'll put that out there now.
So are we advertising? Do we need to? Who's handling that? Okay, so I guess
You already have 2 applicants?
I have 145 applicants for the executive assistant. I would like to open up the process for my number 2, which is the major's position.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we need to go ahead and put that out for advertising
Okay.
and get that done as soon as possible. Okay. So y'all have y'all direction? Yeah, okay. Marlon, put 8.3 on consent for next week.
And if I may, Mayor, just on that item, as the chief indicated, we have provided some comments on those agreements. We're just waiting to hear back from the vendors. Hopefully, they will all be incorporated and addressed prior to the meeting.
Okay.
We may be supplementing the backup, though, to address those issues.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, thanks.
Yes.
8.4, Sierra Software.
Yeah.
Question.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
Vice Mayor, you're the police commissioner, right? Where
Yes,
we
sir.
at? Where are we at with the Cops More grant?
That I will have to ask you.
we've been meeting with Miss Woods Carper, so I would like for her to be a part of the discussion once she has some time.
Are we going to tell the commission that we were granted the Cops More grant?
I accepted the grant. When did I go on vacation? The 28th, so the 26th, the 27th was when the Cops More grant was accepted. But I
When
have
did
yet
we
to-
receive it?
I don't remember the date. I'd have to look back in my emails, but I'll let you know.
Please have that prepared for the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
And the final dollar amount with it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Before we move on to Sarah, I just wanted to put out there that I'm also working on solidifying my employment agreement as well. So hopefully that will be up for the agenda for the next workshop.
Okay. Okay. 8.4.
8.4, Sarah. So I do have the CEO of Sarah here in the audience, so I would like for him to come up, Mr. Edward McGovern.
Okay.
Hi. Thank you for having me back. I know the last time I was here, I spoke with everyone about what Sarah does as far as enhancing safety in your town. Edward McGovern, and I am the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Sarah Software. So the last time I spoke with you was regarding using Sarah Software here in the town of Pembroke Park to assist in safety within the town, and also about the grant that was available through Stanley Parkland that would pay for Sarah for up until 2026. So that grant from Stanworth Parkland had come through. I know the chief had received a letter from Tony Montalto from Stanworth Parkland offering the money. And we have our agreement that's set up, so it's cost-free to the city until June 30th of 2026. And I think it'll be a great thing for the city. There are several cities coming on in Broward and Miami-Dade, but importantly for the town of Pembroke Park and what we built Sarah for smaller cities, it's a force multiplier. When you have a city next door like Hallandale, hopefully we'll see Miramar coming on within the first 2 quarters of this year. It's a force multiplier for the city when you have a critical incident in your city, to have everyone on the same page, to be able to see and manage those other officers from other agencies coming together to help quickly respond to a crisis. So I thank you for having me today. I know we've been back and forth with a lot of paperwork, but yeah, everything's in place, and Stanworth Parkland's ready to go, so that's why I'm back here.
Quick question for you. Is Sarah compatible with the gunshot detection software?
We can be. If I know Hallandale has ShotSpotter, there's a couple different platforms out there. When we created Sarah, we created with what's called an open application programming interface, which means we can connect to anything and anything can connect to us.
Okay, perfect.
So once we're in place, it's just a question of us basically writing code that would connect that and overlay it onto our map.
Okay. Okay. And you stated before this was fully paid for by the grant, so we wouldn't be coming out of pocket until June of
Correct.
2026. Okay. And then what's the cost to us after that?
It's approximately, if current prices now are $18,000 for 3 years.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
In terms of surrounding municipalities, only Hallandale has it right now?
So in Broward County, it is Hallandale and Davie.
Okay,
And obviously you're in line next in Broward County, as well as Lauderhill, Miramar.
okay.
And then in Miami-Dade, it's El Portal, Biscayne Park, and North Miami right now.
Got it.
Okay. And is everyone like eligible for the grant, or is it just certain cities?
Municipalities.
All municipalities. Okay. 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 Does anyone have any questions? No? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wasn't this approved before? This one? I thought it was approved before, no? No?
It was a workshop presentation.
Is it? Okay. Do we need to do anything, single source provider, anything like that?
It should be on the agenda for consideration. We'll handle the procurement side of it.
Okay. All right.
I believe they're a sole source provider.
Okay. So is it okay to put it on the consent for next
For
week?
consent.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Sure. I asked first, so you know, I need to know. Okay. 9.1, the Area Agency on Aging and Disabilities Annual Installation Dinner. Is that you, Alim?
Actually, I received this, I believe, last year. This is actually the request for funding. Last year, I believe the town of Pembroke Park contributed a little over $3,000 to this endeavor.
Wait, are you doing the dinner or are you doing the share, our fair share?
The fair share, I believe, how much we contributed was $3,200 last
We've
year.
been paying for
Right.
like 25 years. We
So,
can work with you. So, but
again-
this day dinner, so that's why I'm
Right.
asking which one is it?
No, well, they sent the request again, so.
Oh, so we didn't pay them for
not-
this year?
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay. So we got two things going on. We got
Correct.
our fair share that we need to authorize of $3,000
And the tickets for the dinner,
and for the tickets for the dinner. Okay.
the sponsorship, that is.
Okay. So Marlene, can you put both of those, fair share for Area Agency on Aging and Disability, Broward County, and the installation dinner? And then you can find out who wants to go as well. Okay. That covers that for that?
Yeah, is there a number that you guys want to?
What? We pay, they give us what our fair share is.
What else? Okay,
Because
got
there's
it.
like 65 residents that they provide food and services to in Pembroke Park. So they give us.
So that's the
that-
number that we are going to go with in case it goes up. So
Yeah.
then I'll find out for you.
Yeah, they give it to you.
Okay.
And then we'll see how many people want to go to the dinner, and then we'll know whether to do a table or whatever for it.
Do you want both of these to be line item or consent?
Consent, but
Okay.
but yeah, but individual because it's two separate things. Okay.
Correct.
No worries.
Okay. 9 points. We're finished with that one, right?
Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure. 9.2 finance consultants contract. So this is to extend the finance director until the end of the fiscal year.
Correct.
Okay. Is there anything we need for that?
Yeah, so we prepared a contract amendment and sent a draft to Aleem, I believe it was yesterday. He has the document itself to review along with Mr. Dolina. I am going to prepare a resolution for this item consistent with our procurement code.
Okay.
So when you see it at your regular meeting, it'll be in that format, but otherwise, from a legal perspective, everything has been addressed.
The other thing I'd like to bring to the council's attention, I actually did negotiate his rates down for the new agreement moving forward. Instead of 7,500, it's going to be actually 6,300. So there is going to be some savings to us in that moving forward.
Thank you, David. Okay, put that on consent.
Okay. Just wanted to go back. I have up on the TV. That's the supporting amounts for the dinner. So I just wanted you guys to know that platinum supporters is 3,000, and then it goes down. So depending on how many of you decide to go, it depends how much we'll be paying. So I just need to know before the next meeting, which is next Wednesday, who would like to go so that then we can give the appropriate amount.
Okay.
Where is it?
It's, I believe it's at the Renaissance and Plantations, usually where it is off of 595.
Five, right.
West Hotel, yeah.
What, like NGO or what is it?
So, Area Agency on Aging and Disability, they provide services to the community for people who have special needs, disabilities, elderly people.
Like Eric.
Okay. Okay.
And they basically, they'll come to your house and provide food, they'll provide nurses, things like that.
Monthly, weekly, or?
Whatever the needs are of the.
Whatever
of
the needs are. It says some of it is daily as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I know a needy person, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they provide excellent services. So every city is required to contribute. They voluntarily contribute their fair share of how much it costs to provide those services to the residents in the community. So for us, we have about 65 residents that benefit from Area Agency on Aging, and it costs us $3,000 versus us actually providing the services to them.
Okay.
So they have an annual dinner, and usually everybody kind of comes out, and each city who's been contributing for so many years, they get an award. So we got a 20-year award, I believe, or 25th year award a while ago. So every year we've been consistently given our fair share. And so this is just a dinner to thank those and honor those and showcase those cities that have been doing their fair share for their residents.
Got it.
It's a nice dinner.
Yeah, we should talk.
Yeah, well, I think the sponsorship levels that I think the town clerk was alluding to is the platinum sponsorship will give you 20 tickets. I'm just abbreviating, summarizing it. The gold sponsorship will give you, which is $1,500, will give you 10 tickets. The silver sponsorship for $1,000 will give you 6 tickets. A bronze sponsorship will give you 4 tickets, and it's $750. Copper sponsorship would be 2 tickets, $500. And the last one was going to be a support sponsorship of $200, which will give you just 1 ticket.
Okay.
So
we'll
those
find
are the
out.
sponsorship levels.
We'll find out who wants to go. I know Sam Gorin was honored one year.
Yeah, just and for the record, in the interest of disclosure, our law firm has been the general counsel for the Area-wide Agency on Aging for about 35 years. So we do quite a bit of work with their board and with their executive director as their legal counsel.
Did I do an accurate description of what they do?
That's very
Okay. Okay. So we'll just, whoever wants to go, just let Marley know. And it's a great organization. Okay. Purchase of 2 new Ford F-150 trucks. I thought we approved this last month, no?
No, that's something, no.
Okay.
Actually, just before Abeo comes up, what we are requesting here in the Public Works Department is to replace 2 trucks. Actually, presently we have service to these trucks with well over $7,000, in repairs. One is a 2007. over 100,000 miles. The other is a 2004, which approximately a little over 90,000 miles. But I believe we have done with the useful life of these two trucks, and it's costing us a lot more to keep them on the road rather than purchasing a new one. A brand new one is going to cost us around $37,000. With the liftgate, it's going to be $41,000 under the Florida Sheriff's bid. I would let Abeyo gives you a little history on, the background on the two vehicles.
No, you did that last time already. We didn't have that discussion before on these two vehicles. We need to just go ahead and get it on consent.
This is a brand new item I'm bringing forward.
You done told me about it 10 times.
The other one was the police department. The police department.
No.
Different vehicles. I did.
Yes,
Yes, they're different
For the
vehicles.
little trucks in the Parks Department and whatnot. Yeah. No,
So
we've
you
had
already
that
purchased the
conversation.
last two one, we like
The other two,
approved?
the other two pieces of equipment was a Bobcat that was purchased, and we got it last week, and the other was a crane truck that was purchased, and we are still waiting on delivery. So those are the other two pieces of equipment.
I
These
believe
are
I had suggested, Aleem, that we looked into see what it would cost to lease these vehicles instead of getting like.
that's an option as well, and
Yes, my name is Abeyo Manning, and I'm a Client Strategy Manager, Enterprise Fleet Management.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. So we actually have put together a 10-year model that we set before Aline was here. We sat down with JC and Roy to go over the 10-year model. We can always get an updated one and go over it because it is more cost effective than to lease the vehicles versus purchase them outright. I know these two are in immediate need and we're trying to get them purchased through a dealer. But in the overall, it does make more sense to lease these vehicles rather than to purchase them.
Can we put those lift gates on a lease vehicle?
Yes, so
Okay.
we purchase the vehicles as a lease for you, as a municipal lease. The vehicle, in all intents and purposes, you use your vehicle, you have all rights to all equity. And we work with most of the cities, a lot of cities in Hollywood and Miami Gardens, and we do all the upkeep of their vehicles. And then, when we dispose of the vehicles, we have the market to dispose of them with the aftermarket as well.
Okay. So you want to you want the numbers next week for the purchase versus the lease?
Yes,
Yes.
if possible.
You be able to get that done?
Yeah, for those two vehicles.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Marlon, well, Susie, can you put that on consent, both the purchase of the two vehicles and also the surplusing of the two old vehicles?
correct, yeah.
That way you'll have it already done.
So yeah, we would like to add,
And y'all can switch them out.
depending on the decision made, surplusing the other two vehicles is going to be important as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe the last time we got good prices when, we got a fair price
Mm.
for the pieces of equipment that was sold back.
Okay.
So,
Also, the last time that we have an old crane, like you said, we're gonna receive one is like next week,
no,
one?
It's gonna be closer to, May, April. They had to, the crane takes time to manufacture and
6 months?
yes, it's
Wow.
gonna take a while.
It's a new world we live in.
Yeah.
So when we receive it, so the old one, we sit down in that, can you just put it in the selling in the website or something? And can you put in the discussion for next item?
yeah, that's,
That one?
yeah. As soon as the new one comes, then the other one will be surplus. I will be requesting it surplus, and then I could put it up for sale. That's the process we go through.
So you want us to go ahead and put that on consent so that when it's time, you can just go ahead and surplus it? and we don't
Correct.
have to have that?
If that's the will, yes.
So put that also surplusing of the
The crane, the
vehicle.
old crane truck.
once the new one comes in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
10.1. Vice Mayor?
Yes.
And the purchase is also on consent? Okay, sorry.
Well, no, that one's going to be a discussion because it might either be a lease or a purchase.
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
so that one would be a
Line
line item, yeah. But the surpluses can be on consent. Because I don't think there's anything to discuss about that. Right? Okay.
Yes.
Listen, I try to make it easy.
This item is to ensure that we in the future do not run into issues with livestock in our town that is not being attended to. So my suggestion is that we simply put a ban on having livestock or poultry in our community's farm and garden. And we also have a accountability so we can find out what do we actually have over there, what have we spent, and what tools and pesticides and so forth do we have in our inventory?
If I may ask a question, do we have a policy, a codified policy that governs the community garden?
I have presented all the documents I had in the past because there were a ton of resolutions that were passed for it.
I've seen a couple. I don't know that I've seen all of the resolutions. I've seen a few. I just didn't know if there was actually a policy that speaks to what's allowed, what's not allowed, and how it's maintained, how it's operated, who's.
There were some user agreements with Hands on Broward and with Makalele Caparero.
If I may, just to make sure we have a full accounting and understanding of all that's going on out there, if we could just work with your manager and staff to kind of put together a compendium of all of the prior action of the commission, all of those documents, and get a better understanding of where we stand as of today, and then just bring back maybe a policy or a amended or revised resolution that encompasses everything into one document and try to streamline that process.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a good plan.
Is that a records request?
I'll speak with
We
your
could
staff.
charge you
We'll work on that. We'll figure that out, Commissioner.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
That's it for that?
That's it.
Okay, thanks. 10.2
I
ordinance.
got a question.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This makes reference to a lease agreement with Hands on Broward approved in 2014. I don't see a copy of that attached. Is there a copy of that?
If I may, Commissioner, that's one of the items I'd like to look for. We have not seen that document either. That was one of the
Haven't
things
seen that
on
document
my
either.
list that we'd like to find along with any prior commission action, but we intend to search for a copy of that lease.
Okay, can
Thank
you
you.
include me in that, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. 10.2, an ordinance, the noise ordinance.
May I, Mayor?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so, and this, for the record, was prepared at the direction of the mayor and the commission. We went and looked through a number of ordinances that surrounding municipalities have utilized as it relates to noise. We do have a noise ordinance, which is fairly comprehensive currently within the town code. We did work a bit with your police chief as far as a recommendation to try to bring forward. One of the standards that we settled on was the audible reasonable, what's the language? I believe it's a reasonable audible sound as opposed to a decibel sound. A lot of noise ordinances are contingent upon a decibel meter. This speaks to a reasonable person, and whether a reasonable person and whether a noise is referred to as plainly audible within a certain distance of where it is originating. So there's some time frames, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., where plainly audible noise cannot be heard for a period of 1 minute or longer at a distance of 25 feet, or I believe it's 1 minute or longer at a distance of 50 feet when measured from a different source. So there are a couple different standards and benchmarks in the ordinance. It is not based on decibels. It's based on a reasonable person hearing that noise. Again, we looked to the city of Fort Lauderdale, which I believe was the model that the mayor had initially recommended when we were preparing the ordinance. If there are any comments or questions, I can certainly answer them, but the document is consistent with other similar provisions that surrounding municipalities have utilized. And we, as I said, had worked with your police chief to try to put together something that would be enforceable from her perspective.
How does that affect the events and things like that?
There'd be an exception for town events and those kinds of things.
And New Year's Eve.
Yeah, well, again, we can carve out all of the operative holidays and things you may have noise beyond that period of time. The other part of this, which is not included in this ordinance, but is sort of an adjunct to the discussion, is one of the other things we're looking at is the citation process, the administrative citation process. We know that under Chapter 162, which is the code enforcement statute, there are several different pathways we can travel down. The more traditional way is what's referred to as a notice of violation, which is what we typically see coming before the special magistrate. The other option, which is not currently in our code, as I understand it, relates to administrative citations, where your code enforcement staff and your police officers would be able to issue a citation for violating the city code. There'd be a fine amount attached to that citation, and the person who is given a citation can either pay the fine amount or appeal the item to the special magistrate. It's just another tool in the town's toolbox. Doesn't relate specifically to noise, but noise is one of the violations we often see enforced with the citation process. You also see it often with people not picking up after their dogs. The offenses where it's not necessarily a situation that you're going to require a period of time to cure. Typically, if you have a code enforcement case where a lawn is overgrown, let's say, the magistrate may give somebody 30 days to cure the violation, at which time a fine of, $50 a day will start to accrue thereafter. Under the citation process, the fine is initially imposed, it's immediately imposed, and the person has an opportunity to appeal. So it's another tool in the town's toolbox. We are looking at that option as well with your police chief, and we intend to bring back an ordinance, if not by the end of this month, hopefully at your workshop in February, to embrace that process in the town. It'll require the ordering of new citation books. It may require some training for your code enforcement officers, just so there's a clear understanding of how this alternate process works, but it may be an additional resource to better enhance enforcement within the town.
It is one of the main complaints I get from citizens.
Noise?
Yeah, noise complaints.
Understood.
Okay. Okay. 11.1, purchase of office furniture.
Yes, finally I had a chance. I went to the Miami Furniture Appliance and I chose my furniture, and it's cost 6,000 something. So I need you to put a discussion for next item so we can vote for it. Or I don't know how it's going to process through. We need a approval for the commission, or I have no idea. So just
Yeah. You want it approved, Alim?
Yeah, I will do.
Correction.
Yes.
Well,
I would put it on for approval. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
put that on consent. Okay. 2024 calendar. Everybody has a copy of that. If they have any questions or want to change any dates, let Marlon know, and that will be on consent. And with that,
I do have one thing to just quickly mention to all of you. Actually, yesterday was the deadline for next week's meeting. So I need to get, if you have any items that you really would like to put on for the 10th, please let me know as soon as possible, because I do have the process where the attorney has to review it, our acting town manager needs to review it, and that's really, why I take those additional days. And of course, the agenda has to be out by Friday. So please, if you have an item, just reach out to me as soon as you can. I would greatly appreciate it. And that's it, and we're done.
attorney comments?
Mayor Commissioner, I have no comments this evening. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, just brief. We did receive the Bobcat last week. Staff has their own codes, and we are getting trained on it. The new shed was purchased as approved by the last commission meeting on December 13th, and it will be delivered next week. 3 items here is that we were informed by Broward County that there's going to be a building on the Orange Book Golf Course, a new police station to be built. And with the town being abutting neighbors, we would just put on notice if we have any comments to that development. And I'll forward the email to all of the commissioners, maybe by tomorrow, because I recently got it from Broward County and the planning department. There's another permit for warehouse on Southwest 20th Street and 40th Avenue. That permit application is to fill in a portion of that lake. There's a little lake there at the back of that Seneca warehouse building. So I just want to put the commission on notice that we received that application for that construction, and it's filling in a little portion of that lake as well. The third one I want to bring to your attention is the public storage on 3080 Pembroke Road. We recently received their site plan for an additional demolition and reconstruction of a 5-story storage building at that location. I could share this with all the commissioners as well. This would be on my report maybe at the end of this week. Southwest 56th Avenue, that applicant, for that development on the corner of County Line and 56 has requested water and sewer capacity. So apparently they're still asking for permission to move ahead with that development. RFP for the HR consultant services, and also your RFP for the town's attorney, which is on the street as well. So those two are, the HR services is on the street, and the town attorney should be closing by the end of the month. The police station or the police department build out, the contractor is working on the punch list of the items, and there's a meeting scheduled for the TCO of the construction on Friday of this week. So that will be, I'll give you a better report at the next week's meeting. The town manager's recruitment. I spoke to Renee, who is the approved contractor, or the approved consultant for the selection of the town manager. She's requesting a 1-hour time limit with each one of the commissioners. I would like to get permission to at least get some time scheduled for each one of you. She would like to schedule, what you would like to see in your new town manager. What are some of the things you'd be looking for? She just want to talk to each one of you individually. And she said she would like you to schedule a 1-hour time frame for you to talk to her. So my staff will be reaching out to see if we could get some times coordinated and we could share your contacts with Renee and Norlock.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, so Marlon, you'll be calling the commissioners? You'll be calling the commissioners? Who's calling? Stephanie's calling? Who's calling?
Stephanie, yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right, thank you. Commissioner comments? Commissioner Jacobs? Commissioner, Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashim?
Yes. Happy New Year again. And I want to bring something, I want to revisit our management package for next meeting discussions. So I want to go through I want to see some rules and regulation or what is the protocol for our employee for town hall.
Are you talking about the manual that was adopted by the?
Management package, like the timing, people clock in, clocking out, what is the rules, how many sick days they have, or something like that, the package.
Yeah,
So I actually want to know about the discussion for next meeting.
okay.
Okay. Commissioner Hodgkins?
No, thank you.
Vice Mayor Morissette?
No, thank you.
Okay. Me? No, thank you with that. Happy New Year's, everyone. The next meeting will be on January 10th at 7:00 p.m. And Town Hall will be closed on January 15th for Martin Luther King Jr. birthday. Special magistrate hearing is going to be January 17th at 9 a.m. And the next workshop after that will be January 24th. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.